Wake your ass up
or take a damn nap.
And we're the three best friends that anybody could have.
It's time.
Sean, you were twerking. That's going to happen.
Murph, don't be a dick all your life.
It's one of the more fun podcasts I've ever done.
Hey, I tell you what, if you're not talking about sports in the man cave, I bet not say you not a man.
That's it.
2-0 pitch, throw to left, back to the Crawford boxes, goodbye! What a time for Hodo's first home run of the season.
That felt like yesterday, and when the guy who hit that over what is one of my favorite parts. I'm not an Astros guy, but I love Minute Maid. Douglas Hodo III. I still just call you just like your father when he played here when I was a kid, but was that your deepest bomb, or where's that rank among your top 3 or 5 bombs you hit in your entire life?
Definitely up there. That was something I'll never forget.
That was, that sweet sound of the ping. You can't replicate that. I know pros are all wood, and it's the big show or minor league right now, but that's got to be one of your favorite moments right there.
Probably, no doubt. No
For
doubt.
sure.
I still had that metal bat,
Well, Doug Hodo III, this is episode 233 of Stories Inside the Man Cave, and we timed it out perfectly before he reports to spring training in the Baltimore Orioles organization. This will be his first full season, and we're going to dive into that. But before we do, Honest AC and Plumbing. They're located in Hodo, Texas, but they serve the greater Austin north suburbs. And right now, apparently, they told me that there's a significant need for plumbing because we're back and forth between AC and heating. So give these guys a call at Honest AC and Plumbing. So we could go all different directions. You just saw one of my favorite home runs that this young man hit in his Longhorn career. But, the journey, the best part of life, I guess you've already received this advice, but it's enjoying the journey. And for you right now, the journey to the big show in baseball. Where do you begin? Because I guess you could begin back in Bernie, so to speak, where you are, your hometown right now.
Right. Kind of grew up around sports, specifically baseball, and having my dad play at Texas and going to the games. It's always been a place I dreamed to be at, and played a ton of sports growing up, but ended up sticking with baseball, and just kind of been something I've breathed and watched since growing up, and it's pretty cool to see how far my career's gone and who I've played with and the coaches I've had and fans, and it's been great, and hopefully we can keep doing it for.
I have a good feeling, Hodo, that this is going to be a long career. I guess the only thing that you may need, and I doubt you have a problem with this, is patience. And that's what we tell everybody in life. But all right, I find this hard to believe. I may have had one extra hair follicle about this time last year, but this happened last summer. 167th overall pick in that June amateur draft. Baltimore, great place. How about the system? Because you told me something before we started the recording of this episode and I swear I pay attention, but I asked Hodo, I said, how'd you like rookie league? And is that where you were for the short season? He said, no, the Orioles, he started in rookie and then you got to play low A. That's not everybody gets to experience it that quick, right?
Right. I know it's changed since a few years ago, but yeah, low A's in Maryland, and got to play a few games on rookie ball in Florida before, but it was a short experience, only for 3 weeks, but I was glad to get out there and kind of get used to what I'm going to be doing for 5 or 6 months coming up here in a few weeks. So it was a good experience for sure.
Absolutely, especially Florida, where you don't have a bad day ever.
No doubt.
No doubt. So you look at this journey right now. Yeah, obviously the goal is, for those who are maybe playing at Texas right now, playing at Bernie, or maybe in the little leagues who are the next aspiring Doug Hodo, what do you tell them? What do you tell them as far as how to keep sight of this vision that of playing baseball professionally?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot that goes into it. I think there's a lot of luck. I think there's a lot of stuff you got to put in yourself. But I think if you do all the little things right and you have fun with the game and you're playing for the right reasons, I think in this day and age when you can literally teach yourself from YouTube or just look up something on social media, like you don't really have an excuse not to get better.
Right.
And obviously, there's special cases where you just have it. You don't obviously got to work for it, but you don't have to work as hard. But I would just say stick to perfecting the little things and doing things outside of the field, like living right and treating people the right way. I think.
So that's good advice. I mean, it's pretty simple, right? I mean, people. I'm not going to say or call out individuals, but I think in this society we tend, and me included, have made or currently make things a little bit more difficult than they should be. I mean, you sound wise beyond your years, to be honest with you.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, one thing I like to go by is keep it simple, and once you stick to that and not make everything bigger than it is, I feel like simplifying things helps you out in not only baseball but life too.
Oh man, I think I just may have learned something from you today. I mean, it's keep that even killed approach to life, and then wake up with some positive goal. But if for those of you who don't follow Texas baseball or are maybe not from the great state of Texas, he's part of a legacy, and that I know this is a story that has been driven home for quite a bit. It's a fun story. His dad was a Longhorn legend, so to speak. Helped win a 1983 national championship. But before we pull up the graphic that I created for us, you were on with Kevin Millar with Intentional Talk on the MLB Network, and I couldn't believe it. He did his homework, and he brought up your dad. And this is just a snippet of it, and this was a really fun part about you and your dad right here.
Do you respect Daddy for maybe the stuff that he did back in the day?
I mean, yes. Just growing up and hearing all the stories, some of them sound like fantasies, growing up at least, and then kind of getting to experience those things, and almost feels like I'm having deja vu, like I've been through it before.
You feel like it sounds like, and you correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just when I was a kid, I was watching your dad play at the dish, and now watching you, it seemed, because you caught the tail end of my media career before I got out, but I always thought that he encouraged you to be you, not live in his shadow, so to speak. Is that fairly accurate?
Yeah, I'd say so for sure. I mean, I remember growing up, he's telling me, "Hey, if you don't even want to play, that's fine with me," which gave me a little comfort, just knowing that, okay, I don't exactly have to follow his footsteps and even be better than him, but I can just go out and play. I think that's something I'm very fortunate to have, because I know some people don't have that luxury.
Right.
And I think that really just allowed me to free up and play my game and not have to be Doug Hodo's son, or you know what I mean? Like it made it more fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun for those who are either a fan following you guys or within the University of Texas program. And I'm sure all of your family, this from 2 years ago, and this is honestly one of I love this tweet right here. And UT Baseball sent it out. It was on Father's Day. The picture of you in the dugout, and then the one on your dad. And it for others across the country, if you notice, the uniforms don't change much. That's just because that's a tradition at Texas. Have you guys joked about this? And is it framed in the Hodo household yet?
Yeah, we mostly joke about his picture. He doesn't have his hat on his head. It's more like he just placed it up there. But yeah, that's really special and something I'll never forget.
Now, what game was it? He was up in the booth with Keith and Zeke, that being Greg Swindell to you guys who don't know who I'm talking about. But he was up there making a guest appearance, and I think got a base hit or a double. I can't remember what it was.
Right,
What happened?
We're playing Alabama that weekend.
And does he still talk about? I mean, it's that's a sign of the universe working right there.
Yeah, I think he said something like, "Can I come back when he comes up the plate next? Like, can we make that happen again if he's going to get a hit?" And that was cool.
That's so funny. What stories did he tell you about him playing and Coach Gus? And because I still look back at that time frame. I mean, the entire program history is incredible, but that run of teams that he was on, I mean, it was ridiculous how loaded they were.
It was stupid. I mean, I think they just had great trust in their coach and great chemistry in the locker room. But I know one story that will not fail to make me laugh is, I guess, Coach Gus, after games, he would have his little press conference and you could call in through a phone. And my dad, I guess, I don't know if he's in the locker room or back home after the games, but he would call in and be like, "Hey, that Hodo kid, he can play, man," in a different voice. And I guess after a couple times, Coach Gus caught on to it and, "Come on, Hodo, get off the phone." Like, I think that kind of banter was what made that team good, and just having fun with it. Also, going out there and dominating was.
Yeah, that's funny. I had never heard that story until today. I can't. And Coach Gus just rolls with it.
Right. He has to, right? He has to.
Oh my God, that was funny. So one thing I noticed about you and your family, you know, we're going to skip around a little bit, you know, and this is something that I think a lot of people get lost on, and I'm not trying to influence anybody, but your faith's a big part of your life. And you have a certain Bible verse that you, it's kind of like your mantra day to day. It's on your Twitter handle, which is, you know, I think we all could use a little bit of that faith to get us through those, you know, the way the world works right now. How big of a role does it play in your life daily?
I mean, it's huge. And before I say anything, I'm not going to say I'm the perfect.
Yeah, right.
Christian. We're all sinners, and I'm especially a sinner. But the verse you're talking about is Romans 12:10, and it's about pretty much about serving others for yourself. And like I said, again, I'm not the perfect example, but I try to live by it. And I think baseball is such a small part of life, and sports are very minuscule in terms of how we live and our character and how we influence other people. So I think just living in my faith every day and being surrounded by good people and people that also live through faith, I think is far more important than baseball or sports or how you do on a baseball game, how your team does in a season. Although that stuff's important, and it is important because we love doing it and put the work in to do it. I think our faith is far more important.
No, that some valid points, and I think I hope we reach one person through this episode that affects. You know, that's kind of been a goal. I don't know if you knew this, but when we started this, it was just audio, and there were 4 of us. And it was right when the lockdown started. So people were seeking positivity and humor.
Right.
And we delivered it, both ends, 50-50.
There you go.
But that was part of it, you know, seeking, you know, power through faith.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know, and that's what you said is, I think, is inspiring the fact that we're defined by how we live, not by what we do.
Exactly.
On a baseball field. I mean, don't you think if there was more of that mindset, that even though it is baseball or football or basketball or even golf or whatever chosen sport, if athletes had that mentality, that you think their performance would can only increase or improve.
No doubt about it. 100%. I feel like a lot of kids growing up, especially with social media and how you should supposedly promote yourself through social media, like recruiting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I feel like people lose track of you're a person of faith before you're a baseball player or a basketball player, you know?
Right. You lose track of your purpose.
Right.
Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm 49 now. Man, I've in the last 5 years I've figured out my why, and that's thrown out so much, and it's because of faith, renewed, and I had to circle back. Not that I ever lost it, but you know how we're human.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I'm glad. I'm glad that I can have this conversation with you, and you understand, and I think, man, it's everybody, all ages, really.
And it's hard. Nobody has it figured out. Nobody.
Nobody. It
Because
changes day to day.
I mean, you want to live like that, but life happens, and we're human, and
Things happen. Hey, I hate to remove this amazing picture that we have of you and your dad, but the background behind us, the mystique of just Falk Field, it has. I wish I could be the wall sometime to see. I feel like I've seen a lot of history there, even though I left Austin for 20 years and came back. But as a player, and I'm sure it may sound similar to other former Longhorns, but how do you describe walking on that field and that mystique of that place, or even just walking into that building, even though there's been renovations and it's so much nicer, and it's amazing. But if someone asks you, maybe a recruit or maybe just in a conversation, what do you tell them the mystique of that place?
I mean, it's special for sure. I think not only walking on the field, you feel that sort of tradition and winning culture, but I think when you put that jersey on it definitely really means something, especially facing other opponents. They see Texas, they know we mean business. And
Yeah.
I think it's just special, really. It's when we're playing games and having the fans out there, it's just, you can't beat it. And
Yeah.
it's just an awesome place with a lot of tradition and a lot of winning. So
A lot of winning.
a lot of it.
So even let's say we go to postseason. The postseason at this Falk Field, the home of the Longhorns, and it has been since 1975. So it's always the regionals, even back when it was just a field of 48, the NCAA baseball madness, to now what it is, the field of 64. Regionals playing in May and June is tradition in Austin. And now super regionals. Have you ever, when you took the field at Dish Falk for a postseason game, felt a little pressure? And if you did, I'm going deep with this question. The ghost of Dish Falk past, have you ever felt that help you as a team or as an individual?
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. I think you can go back to our regional and super regional in 21. I mean, it felt like the pitcher could not throw a strike because our fans, they were unable to throw a strike, and you felt like you weren't even up to bat. For me, like I felt like the fans, the whole stadium was hitting for me, and that sounds crazy. If you're not a Texas fan, haven't been to a game, you probably are like, okay, this dude's psychotic, but it's real. It's definitely real. I get what you're saying.
There's nothing like the sweet smell of a cut grass for a baseball field, like even the old Rosenblatt, in Omaha before they built the new one. But there's this special aroma. Is there one special aroma of Dish Falk Field? To me, it's when you walk in the front. It's like a marriage between, sounds ridiculous, over buttered popcorn, tradition, and pine tar maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if I could describe it in such detail, but there definitely is a little smell.
Yeah.
I couldn't explain it, but I know what you're saying.
I've told that to people before, and they did the old tilted dog look, like,
Right.
what are you say? What the hell are you talking about? So you look at the tradition. I know Coach Pierce, great guy, and he's done a really good job of succeeding the great legend. And so, how much time were you able to spend with Augie? Because I think you arrived in 2020, right?
Summer 2019, so 2020 is my first season.
Okay. So how much time were you able to spend with him, or at
Not
all?
a whole lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. Well, this was something we captured, I think, when Kyler Murray, he was a great two-sport athlete at Allen, and then went to A&M, and then he realized he made a mistake, and he wanted to go. He ended up going to Oklahoma. Well, to give people an idea, they may have seen it on social media, but this is a moment we captured with a beginning of the week press conference. This was typical Augie, and maybe you can add to this to some of your limited interactions with the guy. He was asked hypothetically about recruiting Kyler Murray.
For the one you're talking about, I would get in my car, drive down and pick him up, and give him the car afterwards. Hypothetically.
So, do you have any stories that you remember in your short dealings with him? Maybe your dad did. I know your dad was all Coach Gus, but Augie and Coach Gus. I mean, it's ridiculous to think. Yeah, Bibb, Falk, Gus, Augie, now Coach Pierce. That's 5 in probably 100 years. Right. I got to go back. I'm probably wrong, but
a long time.
Yeah. So, I mean, Augie's in. Everybody loved that guy, and just because of things like that, was there ever any moments with him that you remember that something he told you that was a little bit different than other baseball coaches?
I mean, I can't speak on it because I don't remember if I had an interaction with him. It was probably when I was young, but just hearing stories about him, I feel like I only hear the bad ones. Him coming in the locker room after a bad game and slamming his head on the ground in the infamous video,
right.
But I think just the way he coached, and even though he could come across as harsh, I think he really got his guys to rally around him, and I think that's what made him such a great coach.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't have a great story because I didn't know him very well, but
right.
I'm sure you can get another guy who's played for him to tell you plenty of stories.
We've been very fortunate. I've had some really good good stories, former Augie players, and you're right. And I know you've heard them that, and just like Coach Gus and Coach Pierce, these guys are going to be a part of your life forever at some point. But so one part that it's sponsor related, and if I can pull this graphic off, thank God we're not recording because things are not operating as quickly as they usually do. This little segment that we give tribute to a company that helps us guys out. All right, Manscaping, the Man Cave. I don't know if you're a manscaped.com user or have heard of them, but we have a promo code. And so you go on to manscaped.com. I'm still waiting on their new shipment. I feel like they come up with something new every quarter. Like and my little slogan is our significant others don't want us to resemble the German Black Forest below the belt. So these guys at manscaped.com will help us out, but use that promo code MANCAVE20 for 20% off. All right, Hodo, we're going to take a very quick break. This has been a fun conversation, and we can't forget the Man Cave story, but we're going to drop it down in the second block because the second segment is really short. They always are, but We got more with the Doug Hodo III, the now former Longhorn. It's hard to say. It doesn't feel right saying it, but we've got more, and we're going to have some laughs here coming up on the other side of this break.
Hi, I'm Stevie Lee, former defensive tackle for the University of Texas.
And I'm Clyde Hargrove. I'm a roofer.
I also saw action in 52 games.
And I fix a lot of roofs.
Also won a Rose Bowl and never lost to A&M.
And I fix a lot of roofs, right, Stevie?
Oh, right. I'm sorry, I zoned out a little bit.
So are you going to say that thing about Hargrove Roofing?
Hargrove Roofing. Know who's on your roof.
Is this even going to work as a commercial?
This is JJ Gotch, CEO of the Austin Gamblers, and segment 2 of Stories Inside the Man Cave is next.
The portal giveth and it taketh away.
It does. Line drive, right field. Going back, Borafin, and this ball's gone. Took off, and a home run for Brown.
All right, my man, Hodo. That I know. Is it bittersweet? You're not in a Texas uniform right now. Is it weird, bittersweet? How does that feel right now? Because you're so used to just doing this every year, and especially the last 3 as a Longhorn.
Right. It's definitely a little weird. It's definitely weird watching.
So that was a clip up there in Arlington. You got to play in that stadium as well. So that was they're going to call him downtown Porter Brown. A lot of new faces on this Texas Longhorn roster and new coaches. So a lot is being made of. I have not looked at social media. I can only imagine what's going on right now. Texas didn't perform well in their first 3 games, but they were 2 one-run losses. Personally, I'm not concerned with it, but from you, I mean, you're fresh out of the program. You see all these new influx of new talent and some new assistants. What's your now? I mean, it's weird calling you former Longhorn, but Longhorn for life. Doug Hodo, what's your take on this start? Because to me, it's just I don't think the roster, even the rotation, is going to be set till late April.
Right. I think when you have a bunch of new guys coming in from all over the place, it definitely takes some time to gel, and you can work towards that all fall. But once you start playing other teams and get into the real deal, it still takes time to gel and everyone to find their roles. And I think, it was a disappointing weekend, but I've seen what those guys can do. And once everyone finds their role and starts to feel comfortable, and I mean, it's Texas, they're going to find a way. So I'm not worried. I know you're not worried either. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's they've got some. So you were coached by Troy Tulowitzki and hitting. That was, how did he change you, and how just for people who don't understand how that works? I mean, he's one of the brilliant minds in the game, and he one day I'm sure will be a head coach at some point.
No doubt.
What did he do for you? But collectively, as a program, and who might that guy be on this new staff, if you had to guess?
Right. I think the way Tulo impacted that program is special, and in such a short time too. I mean, people always ask, like, what did he do for your swing? Obviously, he helped a lot with the mechanical side of stuff, but more so the mental game and how to work the right way, how to prepare for a pitcher. I think those things he really helped myself and our team as a whole. But I think it's hard to compare Tulo to anyone. So to answer your question, I think he's improved every coach on that staff right now, because I know he's been around in the fall. But to answer your question, the closest to him would be Caleb Longley. He's working with the hitters right now and worked under Tulo a little bit last year, and he's got it going on, and I think he's going to be a really good coach. He's young and has learned a lot from Tulo, and has definitely held his own this fall. I know just talking to the hitters that he's been a tremendous help, and working with him last year, he's a real deal. So they'll be just.
That's good insight and it's just, I'll be honest with you too. I mean, I'm as a guy who loves the program and loves college baseball in general. It's hard to keep up with changes and learn about them if you're not there every day and having conversations and actually or working with someone like that. I mean, you hear the name. I did meet Woody Williams, and I think he needs some time. I mean, you can't just have fall ball, and now the spring, and it's magically put together a pitching staff. But I do think Lucas, what's your take on him? Because I thought he had a really solid performance Friday night.
He's the guy that gave me the most fits when we scrimmaged inter squads. So I'm not surprised at all. He's a competitor, and he paints pitches out there. So he'll be really good.
Yeah, no worries there. But this schedule is going to be fun, and one thing that's been fun, considering all the drama that's unfolded, is with the Texas basketball program. And yesterday, for Texas fans, it's always good. They love beating Oklahoma, and that is exactly what happened yesterday.
Today was March basketball. You're going to be in games like this all year, whether in postseason play, to where you've got to maybe not have your best day today, but you got to find a way to get it done in those 40 minutes. And I thought this group, again, they've been very resilient all year long in terms of fighting through adversity. Had a chance to have the game won in regulation. We had to go play an extra 5 minutes. We really, in that 5 minutes, hit the reset button and said, hey, we're going to win this game with our defense. And a lot of times in overtime, the team that comes out in the first minute of overtime and sets the tone with how they're going to play both on offense and defense really finds a way to get it done in overtime.
That was a real long that's on me. I should have cut that down a little bit. But Rodney Terry, still the interim head coach after the Chris Beard situation. So what he has done to date, you being you're still an athlete and you've played at a high level. I mean, am I stepping out of my bounds by saying what he's done in the interim to keep that team together has been miraculous, or is that you think it's coupled because there is good, strong player leadership?
I don't think he's being talked about enough. With all the stuff that's happened, I'm sure the position he's in is really tough, and then to go out and have to coach games after that is even more tough. So I think he's done a great job, and it's been fun to watch them. It's been a while since we've seen a UT basketball team be this good and this deep. So it's been cool, and kudos to them and Coach Terry, because it's been cool to watch.
I want to go ahead and say it. I'm going to be disappointed. I think if they end up winning, because there's a good chance with, I think, 4 conference games to go, they could win the regular season championship and probably get a 2 seed. Because I don't think if you win the regular season, you don't need to worry about Kansas City. That's just my opinion. I think if he gets to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament, you've got to hire him. I mean, what would your thoughts be if CDC does not go that route?
I mean, I can understand both ways, because he's not the guy that they intended on hiring, but I also don't understand the route of not rehiring because of the job he's done,
Right.
So I don't
It'd
know.
be a tough job. It'd be a tough job to figure that out. One storyline that's kind of made some people uncomfortable is Tiger Woods' humor with the tampon with Justin Thomas. Have you seen that?
I have.
Okay. I want you to hear, before we talk about it, I want you to hear, this is a young lady. I've seen her on, I think, Twitter, but I found this on TikTok. And I think this, and it's just me, I'm not trying to be dismissive or offensive to any woman. I'm just, I'm trying to get a read on this. and why so many people do they have a legitimate argument? Because I respect everyone's opinions. This is what this young lady had to say, and I don't have a problem with it at all.
I'm sure y'all have seen the whole Tiger Woods and Justin Thomas thing by now at the Genesis. And as a girl, I think this is absolutely hilarious. I take zero offense to this. I love how Tiger and Justin, they're actually going out there having fun, nothing super tense, and they're just buddies. They're just having a good inside joke here. No one asked for my opinion, but there it is.
I mean, it doesn't surprise you, does it, that something like this would create such a firestorm of clickbait and attention? I mean, I get it. What people are saying, well, you know what, he's a father of a daughter. I get that. But it's humor between two guys.
Right. It's not used in the wrong context. And I feel like nowadays anything can become an issue. And he wasn't doing that to make fun of other people or joke about other people. He's doing it because it's funny and it's with one of his buddies, and he's on one of the biggest stages too. So
yeah. The fact that someone zoomed into a hand, something that's kind of disturbing.
Right.
That's kind of disturbing to me. But hey, he had a great performance this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, man, I'm not going to pull the old Texas is back type deal, but I think Tiger is, as of right now, he still got it.
Yeah, it's cool to see.
Oh my God. It was, but yeah, I like to see this tampon story die as quickly as it started.
I'm with you on that.
Hey, before we go to the TikToking in the man cave, be sure to subscribe to us on the YouTube and Facebook pages. We've had another former Longhorn, Adrian Alaniz, a former pitcher. He was on here. He is the head coach of Sinton High School, won a state championship where he won a state title as a player. Great guy, great story. Another man of faith, just like our guy right here, Douglas. Doug, I want to say Douglas, but it's Doug Hodo.
Either or.
All right, so TikTok, there are some videos that make you raise your eyebrows. They're somewhat humorous. Well, there's this young lady on there, and she makes it sound real. Makes it sound very real. Her mannerism, everything. I'm assuming she's it's been monetized, all this, but this is her talking about the first time she let one rip in front of her boyfriend. This is a little long, and this, watch her mannerism. She's I don't know. This girl, I don't know why I watch it all the time, but these are absolutely comical.
What's the worst place you've ever farted?
So I got a new boyfriend recently, and a little while ago I went and slept over at his house, and we were just doing a lot of things the night before and busy, and I was exhausted. I was really tired. So after I woke up, I was kind of in this like sleepy haze, like, you know, where you're not like fully awake. So I'm lying in his bed and I'm kind of sleepy haze, and I farted real loud. I let one go, and then it kind of woke me into reality. Like, it was loud enough that I was like, oh, and then I look over and he's not there. And I'm like, okay, fuck. I got away with it. I got away with it for sure, but where is he? So I tiptoed out of his bedroom and I kind of peeked around the corner and I made direct eye contact with him. And we just kind of looked at each other, and I knew he knew, and but I couldn't help but ask. And I'm like, do you hear anything? And he said, yeah. He said, yeah. And I farted first. Fuck.
It's not very often that subject matter comes up, but man, we've all been there. You know, it just kind of happens.
Yeah, it's natural.
Natural, man. I remember. I'm going to go ahead and admit this, Hodo. There was one time I was on a date in college. I can't believe she kept me around. That's all I got to say. All I'll say is we got up from a chair, and yeah, there it was. It sounded like a pack of elephants running through the desert.
It happens. You can't be mad.
Oh my God. So we can't how can we go about this? How do you follow that up? Can a man cave story follow up some TikToking in the man cave topic like that?
I guess so.
Man, I'm not asking you to go that route. It may involve a little flatulence. I doubt it, but you don't have to go the flatulence route.
Yeah, I won't go there.
So what I would love, because I know between you and your dad and the people you played with, there are I'm sure some comical stories.
Yeah, I'd say the first one that comes to mind is we were playing Baylor in 2021 in Waco, and the week prior, there's this Twitter account that keeps tagging me or whatever and saying like, "Get ready this weekend." Like they were called the Burn Boys. I guess it was a group of college students from Baylor that go on the right field and I guess heckle the right fielder, and they have a little berm out in right field, and so they're the Burn Boy. And so they're tagging me on Instagram all week, and hey, like 3 days left or 2 days left, like get ready. And I'm like, all right, it's Baylor. Like, what could it possibly be? And so we go out there, and Friday night there's a group of about 10 to 15 of them, and I just look out there, and there we go. It's right when I step on the field. I'm not going to repeat what they said, but just ungodly things. And just looking over there, I recognize a few of them that I know because me and my family, I grew up in Houston my first 10 years.
Yeah.
And so a few of them went to the elementary schools I went to, so they knew a little bit about me. Also to note that both of my sisters went to Baylor. My mom went to Baylor, so that was a little fuel to the fire. But so ended up getting just an earful of that. It's so quiet in that stadium; nobody was really there, but I could hear what they're saying, and everybody else could hear it too. So ended up just getting in my head really, and I think I had one hit over the weekend, struck out plenty of times, but after our Sunday game, Coach Pierce goes, "Hey, what were they saying out there that I couldn't really hear?" And I go, they're Baylor students. They're just yelling out some scripture. They're yelling out and all that kind of stuff. So that's just something that I remember. I think that was pretty funny. Just especially, I feel like it's always the private schools that give it to them. TCU was real bad when we were out there. And it's just stuff you can't even think about telling yourself. They just go that much.
So East Carolina was a little difficult. Wasn't it?
That's a different story in and of itself.
Oh my God! What do they call themselves? A jungle?
Jungle.
The fact you guys got out of there was an accomplishment in itself.
No doubt. Another funny thing about that place is, it's typical trash talk, but I think either the Saturday or the Sunday game, it might have been Sunday, Monday, but me and DC look over in right center, and there's these 12-year-old kids drinking a beer. We're like, where are we, dude? Like, we just need to win and get out of here. This is too much. These kids are 10, 12 years old drinking a beer. Come on.
I think I remember this.
Because they showed it on ESPN or something, too. Like, everybody saw it. The jungle.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty
wow. Oh, my God. They lived to a different beat in Mississippi, I guess, southern Mississippi. Oh, my God. Of course, occupy left field here in Austin. A bunch of fine Americans. That's you guys do. I mean, obviously with Mark Pena and every one of them. That what role they play? I mean, you guys had a lot of fun with them throughout your years in Texas.
They're great, and I think the special part about them is they're unwavering fans, and they show up regardless. I remember watching the 2019 season, going to some games, and obviously that was a tough season. They stay out there and they have fun too. But yeah, the support they give us is huge, and it's awesome to play in front of not only the fans but for left field too, because they're great.
That's a great group. It really is, and that's what makes it all worthwhile. It really is,
no doubt.
So what we like to do around here, man, we like to end on positivity.
Hey man, tell me something good.
Hodo, not that there was anything negative in this episode, but tell me something good in your world, maybe inspiring, comical, or something you're looking forward to as you prepare for your beginning of March, as your spring training begins.
Right. For me, like, this is my first off season as a minor leaguer, and it's been a lot of time, but I think so the tell me something good point, I mean, I feel like I try to find something every day in my life that's good and reflect on that, or just kind of intend to do something good for someone, or even if it's small or large. I think it's pretty general answer, but I think if we can all do one good thing a day, even more than one, I think this place will be better than it was the day before.
What does it say? 1% better every day?
Yep.
It's not a lot. And that's yeah, it does add up. You could be 300% better by the end of the year.
Right.
I mean, it's that simple.
Right.
No, I like that. I really do. The words of wisdom from the Doug Hodo, man. I really people need to hear that more often. They really do. But this episode's been fun. It's always good to, carry on the Hodo legacy tied to Texas baseball. And man, it was fun watching you grow and play as a Longhorn, as it was I really wasn't much shorter, since I didn't grow much since my 7th grade year, but watching your father play too, man, it's that whole story never gets old.
Right.
Never.
Right.
But man, check out this guy. Give him a follow on Twitter. Follow his career as he's trying to make it to the big show with the Baltimore Orioles. Doug Hodo, the proud third Doug Hodo. And, man, be sure to tell your family we said hello too.
I will, for sure, and I really appreciate you having me on here.
Absolutely. We'll have to get together in Austin and just celebrate life.
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Bro. So for the entire Hodo family, and for the OG Man Cave boys, that being Hardball Hards, Big Mike, and Coach Mo, we out.
You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up.